listening to the Beercraft Home Brewing Podcast. Tune in every Wednesday night at 6:30 Pacific for a dose of beer and brewing banter with your hosts, Ben Holm and Andrew Ziegler.
So hop aboard for a little wit and wisdom in the Pacific Northwest, because it's always beer 30 on the Beercraft.
Welcome back to the Beercraft. I'm Ben, and Andrew's sitting with me.
Oh, yeah.
We got a special guest today. We tried to do this a couple weeks ago, and that fell through right at the last minute. But tonight we're going to make up for it right now. We've got Greg Pore right in here from Teramar Brewstillery in Bow.
Yeah.
Welcome in. Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome,
man. Glad you could make it. I didn't have much of a plan. I'm going to get Greg in here. We're going to talk about beer. I know we interviewed you a year ago. I think probably like episode 3 or 4. I think we were talking about.
Yeah.
We were talking about doing a Berlinerweisse or a little sour project. But I bought the yeast for that. We still never did that.
We never did.
Yeah.
Thought that counts.
We got that close.
We tried.
I
have all the fruit still. It's in the freezer.
Well,
There you go.
Yeah. That'll hold.
Yeah.
All my wild fruit. I grow berries and different kind of things out here.
Oh, right on. Nice.
Cherries, berries. So I was going to make a fruit. I don't know, kind of just regular.
Yeah,
fruity,
some
mixed
fruits,
berry,
some fruits, and
Mixed
some and some sour funk.
There you go. Nice.
Just
Always goes
my
good
style,
together.
My style right there. Well, fucking hey, we've got some beer today.
That means we have to do something.
It is appropriate.
Yep.
The clock on the wall, the big one,
It's time for
Beer
30.
Oh,
yeah,
30.
Greg. I was like, well, I'm gonna grab some of Terramar's offerings. I'm gonna make you drink your product on
Hey,
live.
fair
on
enough.
there.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get enough of it.
Right.
Don't know what it tastes like.
Yeah. So
what'd you bring us?
I grabbed the Samish Bay IPA.
Okay.
So, Greg, we're gonna put you on the spot for the Samish Bay
Let's do
IPA. Tell me about this beer.
All right, well, that's our flagship West Coast style IPA. It's kind of changed hop combinations over the years. Initially, it was kind of a rotating hop varietals going in there, always with a similar malt base and always with Chico, American Ale, yeast strain in there. But recently, been bringing in a lot of kind of modern modified hop products for these guys, some advanced hop products. Been using some Whirlpool extracts, been using some liquid extracts for dry hopping and cryo hops, T90 hops, kind of layering in all those different hop varietals and kind of locking in the hop bill and making it a little more consistent. So I've been excited about where this beer's been and kind of where it's going.
Yeah.
It's really taken off for us in the market, in cans, as well as on draft. It's probably by far our best-selling beer on tap at the brewery there. I mean, IPAs are already pretty good selling beers, but this guy's definitely kind of taken off into another level. Had to pick up some more fermentation tanks largely to keep up with the production of this beer.
Right on. That's good.
Yeah, which
Looks
is good
nice.
problem to have.
Really nice looking. Really clear.
Yeah, clear West Coast style beer.
Yeah.
It's
Got a nice head on it.
Yeah. Foam stability is pretty important to me. Brewers geek out on that stuff, and that's one thing I really love.
love the
Nice carbonation.
Nice
It smells
carbonation.
really good.
I'm a carbonation guy. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. I could talk about this beer for a while. It's one of my favorites to produce and brew and drink, and nice.
Piney aroma. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to kind of layer in the pine, the citrus, the floral, the tropical fruit layers, and really kind of get that bouquet of kind of classic old school West Coast IPA with some modern hop technologies.
So what kind of hop?
Go ahead.
What kind of hop did you dry hop this with? You said it's an extract.
Layered in a couple different dry hop products there in the dry hop, but I've been using the new. It's called Hyper Boost. It's from Yakima Chief hops. It's a really densely concentrated oil-based extract that's made for the cold side. So it's made to put in fermentation either during primary or during secondary. And I layer that in with some cryo hops as well as some T90 hops. Main varietals are Citra, Eldorado, Idaho 7. And Crush are kind of the main varietals in there.
Ooh, I saw Crush today. I was picking through LLD and they had Crush. It sounds really tasty.
It's a nice hop. I've learned. I used it when it was HBC 586 before they named it for a while.
Yeah.
It is. It's intense in its character, which is really nice. But it's also can overpower, I've learned. Can get really kind of, I would call it maybe like artificial fruit or kind of a candy-like character to it. And to me, that starts to lose the hop character.
The hop character,
But
yeah.
blending it in, it does a really, really nice job kind of adding this kind of tropical fruit punch to it without getting too overwhelming.
Right.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Nice.
Crush is more
Crush
tropical.
with a K.
Yeah,
Crush
Crush
is
with a
more
K.
tropical
Yeah.
than
Yeah, more tropical for
That's
sure.
what I would think.
Yeah.
Like crushed pineapple.
It was like the number one flavor I saw today was like it was berry and then tropical, or berry citrus and then tropical.
Yep.
I think if you know, like some manufacturers will put like, oh, this is the strongest element we have, and these are secondary and tertiary. But it sounded cool. I'm planning on bringing some of that into the shop.
Yeah.
And now I have a better excuse to, because you can taste it right back in here at Terramar. And
Yeah.
they're cool
Right.
neighbors.
It's a
Right
fun
down the
hop for
road.
sure. Works really well on hazies too, more juicy forward styles. It's kind of got that going for it. But yeah, it's a really unique, nice hop that can be layered pretty well.
My immediate thought with it was to pair it with the Cryo Pop. Have you played with that one, that blend?
I have actually. Yeah, I've used that in some hazy IPA builds before. And I definitely kind of enjoy the character it can bring out for sure. It kind of spent a lot of time researching, you know, YCH did on kind of those survivable compounds they're calling them that'll actually make it to your finished beer, regardless of what's in the hop product. And yeah, no, it adds an element for sure. That kind of like, it's kind of like, think of it like a seasoning hop where you can like add it into other hop blends.
It's
and it
kind of
really
like salt. It turns the volume up on everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not going from maybe one kind of flavor profile, but it gives you that kind of like amplification. That kind of when it works other hops together. Really nicely.
Yeah, it was kind of a cool, happy accident for that bit of research.
Yeah.
For sure. Gotta move my microphone a little bit here.
Where are you going?
I don't know, but I want to face my guest today.
You need to
I want to be
tighten
heard
it.
while
You
I'm
need to-
doing.
You need to tighten that spot right there.
Don't worry, Greg. We're gonna edit out all the bloopers.
Hey, you guys do what you got to do. You're the professionals.
I
here.
leave these
just,
bloopers in. What are you talking about? These make the show fun.
Lulling him into a false sense of
I
security.
love when Ben starts doing equipment stuff.
Yeah, like I know what I'm doing. Fuck.
He spins his microphone and the microphone doesn't spin because it just stays right at his right at his
No,
nose.
I'm trying to face our guest here today in the studio. You know, and I'd like to be heard while I'm doing it. It's weird.
It's important.
It's my name on the fucking marquee. So.
I hear podcasts should be heard. That's what the
It's
medium is, right? Yeah, it's audio.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, he wants to get some cameras in here, but that's not happening yet.
So yeah, that was a monumental undertaking. I think I was up till 2 a.m. Getting all the setups right in OBS Studio, and then to get into the studio and do it, I couldn't get everything to sync. Shit. So, it was very much like watching. For the two people who watched it, it was like Godzilla. The mouth moves and then you hear the words.
Yeah.
I was able to sync one channel to the video feed, but I could not sync the second video feed to the audio track. So we do have a plan for an upcoming show to another Zoom interview, and that one I hope to record and broadcast that one. It's the evolution of the
It's
the
where
content.
the medium's heading, it seems like, right? Yeah. The video and audio together.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah, but who wants to look at us?
my wife does, and thank you, honey. She still likes
She
me,
does?
so yeah, that's good. I dig that.
Well, maybe y'all heard beer news last week.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm nothing to look at.
Damn fine beer, Greg.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, it's actually the first year Terramar has been able to lock in hop selections. We've usually been on the spot market historically, but that spot market's definitely shrinking up now. There was a lot of hops on the market for a lot of years, but acreage, I'm sure you guys know, is shrinking. Hop acreage is going down, and spot market's shrinking. So I got on some hop contracts this year, 2025 contracts for 2026, and
good.
Very cool.
it allowed me to select lots of hops too, which was really, I've always wanted to do that and did that at my previous jobs. But now that kind of the industry's changing, you don't have to buy, thousands of pounds of hops to select. You can buy small quantities and they'll mail you off, 4 or 5 different lots, and you can in-house analyze them and choose which one you want and keep that going for your year. So it really allows you to kind
That's
of
a
like
big difference.
big
then.
difference. Yeah. A couple years ago, you had to be a big buyer to go do
You had to buy
selection.
all of it, right? And then you had to store it.
You had to buy a lot of them. Usually they would store them for you
Right.
for a year, but
Well,
then you'd start paying storage and
right.
you'd pick them up. but it was the like minimum order quantity was so high to select a lot, and a lot of suppliers have changed that rule to go, if you get a couple 100 pounds, we'll let you choose, and that's been really nice to smaller brewers to go in there and select the lots you want.
The hop farms are a little more agile.
More agile, and they're adapting to the industry that's changing too, right? The industry has changed
they
so
were
much.
increasing production all
Exactly.
through the first 2 years of the pandemic, and boy howdy, they were getting bitten just as bad as the rest of us were.
I mean, right now, so many suppliers are selling 22, 23 crop year hops, put them at discount because they're overstocked.
Right.
It is obscene discounts too.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to retail some of this stuff and like, yeah, you got that for $2 a pound. Good for you. Good for you.
That was a pound for $2.
It was, obscene numbers like that. I think I saw like a $4 pound like Cascade from 20 something.
Yeah.
I've seen
things like that.
If it's stored appropriately. Fantastic.
No,
Good
for sure. Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
It probably was.
It probably was for sure. Yeah,
it's usually in the bags.
Usually nitrogen flush, cold stored, and that's the good thing now. A lot of those hop COAs have that HSI, the hop storage index number on there, and that's really helpful to use. They've done aging testing on how those hop oils stay from being oxidized.
Well, I'm hoping somebody comes up with a new IBU calculator that includes the HSI.
Right, because how those will degrade over time, those oils, but the good value HSIs, they'll stay more stable over time, so you can get really good, 2-3 year old crop years.
Right. We would have to amend like 2 episodes to like ragging on IBU.
Oh, for sure. Don't get me started. Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
You're in the
And is it a good science or not?
Theoretical numbers.
Right. Yeah. It's an approximation of a lab protocol that we didn't use. How about that?
It doesn't translate to flavor, really.
Yeah. And or your tongue, for that matter.
Or your palate, yeah.
Well, awesome. I noticed you looking on the bottom of the can there, Greg. How's this beer holding up?
It's good. This actually was canned just a few weeks ago. This was a can in March. I think we did a canning run on March 8th or 9th, somewhere in there. We use mobile canning service at Terramar, so we were able to not have a line.
You don't have to pack it in there.
Don't have to pack it in there. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to those mobile canning operations. I don't know. I don't want to say too many things here on the record, but there's positives and negatives. There's really benefits to not having to store your cans and your lids. Do they roll up
to your place with a truck?
Exactly. Yeah, box truck, and they roll out the canning line, the depalletizer, labeling machine. They bring cans. They bring lids.
You have to have the space for this then.
So we got to have the space. So what we do is we clear out a good section of our brewery, and we got it kind of shoehorned in there on kind of like a 90-degree angle to get the fills to the labels to back out the door.
Right.
But not storing the dunnage, not storing the empty cans, not ordering the cardboard. All those minimum order quantities are so high. So that's a big benefit to the mobile canning, because they take care of that stuff.
Right.
So downside is they're in control of the machine, and they're in control of fill levels and efficiencies.
How's scheduling on that? Are they busy?
Yeah, they're busy. They're there's only a couple of companies that are still doing it. I'm about 4 weeks out to schedule. So I kind of got to make sure I plan ahead and if I get behind the curve, and I try to schedule maybe 2 or 3 dates out ahead of time to make sure I got them locked up.
That's what I always say. 5 weeks makes the best beer. So that's good for your planning right there.
Yeah, it's good, good production planning.
Ooh. You did drop a new vocabulary word for our listeners, dunnage. Many homebrewers probably not going to be too familiar with that one.
It's all the spent material from packaging material. So sheets on can lines, plastic and cardboard from the ends of cans.
Tonnage of garbage, and they call it dunnage.
It's waste material that you have to deal with.
You're definitely paying for that, right?
Yes, and that's going to be dollars in, dollars out. So, those things are nice, but you're at their kind of whim and their kind of schedule. And also, you got to load all your tanks up and then wait and then can them all off, and then fill them back up again. Try to get that efficiency there.
It kind of turns your production timeline.
It kind of dictates your production timeline.
You got a busy brew week the day after they show up.
You don't have that nimble ability, like, let's just can off 20 cases and go on to the next one. It's like, no, we got to lock in these and then get distributor orders ahead of time and projections, and but then not having your own systems in line makes it a little bit easier. How's
the distribution been for you in Washington?
We're lucky. We've experienced really slow, steady growth in distribution.
Cool.
I mean, it's been this last year or two. You've seen a lot of the guys who their main income stream is distro, seeing that shrink a little bit. Our about 55 to 60% of our volume goes to distro, so it's a good chunk of our business, but it's not our only chunk of our business. I used to run a brewery that was 99% distro, and 1% over the taproom shelf, and and so very different right in that regard. But I think we've done a good job of kind of slowly building our brand and slowly growing in the market and not coming out of the gates trying to do more than we could. You know, we launched cans only about 2 years ago.
You've done a lot, actually.
Yeah, no, we've done a lot. Yeah, exactly. And we didn't have cans initially. We didn't distro cans initially, and then worked with our distributor to kind of, the initial push on distributing was, in cans especially, was getting Hagen's on board. And so our distributor went to Hagen's and got us a placement in their local grocery store.
You guys,
and there's the volume. So it's like, all right, the volume's there. Now we can put it in cans. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I was just in Hagen today picking up this 4-pack, and you guys were nice eye level, spot right
Top
there.
shelf.
Like, yeah,
Nice,
almost.
right on.
Yeah, it was.
Eye level shelves.
Yeah, it was the top shelf. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very good.
No, we try to use our distribution really as a means to get folks to come visit us. I mean, if you guys haven't been to Terramar, you guys have.
I've been
but
there.
We have an amazing spot. We have an incredible
I love
location.
the spot.
Fantastic.
So it's a couple acres, overlooks Samish Bay. We've got, awesome tap room, an awesome outdoor bar, and a music venue out back. And we've got a big speakeasy that we do in our cocktail
That's
lounge.
speakeasy. We're gonna what is it? Is it Mike in the speak? No, it's
Morgan?
Morgan.
Yeah,
in the
Morgan and Tim. Yeah.
in the speakeasy. Like, we're gonna get those guys out of here one of these days because
They are talented mixologists.
I could probably talk mixology with them for about 4 hours.
Yeah, we do all of our house-made tinctures there. They
Yep.
manage that whole program.
Yeah,
It's
you
pretty
go
fun.
you go into your speakeasy and you see all of them along the wall, all of your selections.
Oh yeah, it's fun. They
And
use
then with
local ingredients.
infused,
All infused products. Yeah, we take our Nutrigrain Spirit, our kind of base vodka that we distill, and they take that and tincture on all sorts of things and build our back bar off of there. So
Yeah, it's
our
really
entire
cool.
cocktail program is house-made spirits. We don't really bring anything in besides some like wines and vermouths, and keep it really creative and really fun.
The odd liqueurs and whatever's.
and Amaros and things we make in house too, and bitters we make in house.
you make a whiskey?
Oh yeah, single malt
Yep.
whiskey is our best-selling spirit for sure.
Oh yeah, come in there and give me a single malt and have a beer, and then pizza.
For sure.
Pizza's
so.
good. Your pizza's really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we try to do everything well. It's tough to wear all the hats. We make beer, we make cider, we make distilled spirits.
So when does the outdoor section get really going? And
June it really gets going.
June?
Yeah, we're launching. We started last year, but we're going again to a monthly farmers makers market called Terramarket.
Okay.
And we bring in a bunch of farmers and vendors and artisans, and they go out back.
third weekend, second
First
weekend,
Friday of the month, starting
Friday,
in June.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
first
Cool,
Friday
cool.
in June, first Friday July, first Friday August.
And what are the hours on that?
That'll be from we're doing 4 to 7 on those guys.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, so we kind of do an after work kind of deals we do with that.
Right.
People show up after work and get going and hang out for the evening.
And then after that, there's bonfires. You have a few different spots.
We've
for
got some
fires.
spots. Yeah, we don't have any bonfires per se, but we definitely have some outdoor heating elements.
Okay.
We bring in musicians for those farmers markets, and we have musicians every Saturday on the stage 2 out back.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, so starting
All
that
right.
again this summer. We're going to put couple decent sized bands out there this year, and just kind of slowly building
Build that. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Rapport out there. So that's been really fun. We got a satellite bar out there in one of the connexes we have.
Yep.
Open that up. Got 12 taps out there, and
Yeah.
got a bunch of games we're getting out
Your
this year.
spot is super cool.
Yeah.
It's really unique. It's incredible.
nice.
Yeah.
It's expansive, and you have different areas. You go into the main brew house, and you got all the tables to the left and an L shape, and then you go to the across the aisleway to the speakeasy. Go out back. There's a big congregational area back
Yeah,
out there,
but-
and then another one down a little lower, right?
Yeah, we've got about 20 tables or so right outside the outside area and kind of a courtyard area, and then out further back is what we call the back 40, the big old grass hill out there, looks onto the stage, looks onto the bar.
Cool.
And that's where we get events going on in the summertime.
Okay,
So,
now we get bands on Saturday.
bands on Saturday,
All right.
live music on Friday for the markets, the first Friday of the month. And yeah, all sorts of fun and games out there and things like that. So
Nice.
it's really fun. Yeah.
I'll be coming.
Yeah. So how was it transitioning into the brewstillery, with the distilling? You had to
For sure, yeah. I mean,
climb that ladder, didn't you?
Yeah, the founding owner of Terramar, Chris Barker, and Jen Barker, they built this whole thing and got it off the ground and built it from the ground up and really had this vision to execute it. And Chris has been distilling forever and ever and ever. So he really brought the distilling operation to the equation. I had, my background's in brewing. I was running a production brewery in Alaska, and I went to brewing science school over in Germany and got my brewing science degree over there. So when I joined on when they were getting started, it was really I was kind of bringing the brewing side, and Chris was kind of bringing the distilling side. He was an incredible brewer in his own right, for sure. But the distilling was a learning curve for me, for sure. And he's been doing it since he was in high school, he welded his first still together, and engineer by trade. So he's been engineering, designing, fabricating, and distilling forever and ever and ever. And he had his process really well dialed in, and barrel selection, and building up grain bases for his whiskeys and vodkas and gins. And it's been really fun to learn that whole process, and from a sensory perspective and a process perspective. And everything we do in the spirit world is also grain based. So we go through a brew house and ferment in a fermentation tank, and then transfer over to distill out in the tank there for wash. So it's similar processes, on fermentation management, but the distilling aspect of it is...
The road to whiskey goes through beer.
Yeah,
That's right.
a lot of grain-based.
You need good fermentation to maintain flavor.
That's kind of what Chris taught me a lot, is distilling, you're amplifying flavors, right? You're concentrating flavor. So if you put some shit in there and you're going to distill it, it's going to taste more like shit and more like crap. You got to have good raw materials, good brewing processes, good fermentation management, a nice, clean, delicious wash then is going to become a really clean, delicious spirit.
Yep. I've distilled, very, very lightly with my air still. Yeah. I did a bad batch of beer. I'm like, I'll just distill all this alcohol off that.
Yeah, great. You'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, tasting that stuff is horrible. It's like, this tastes just like that beer.
Shite with a fucking shite back.
Two wasted processes right there.
Yeah, I've had some beer, some hop schnapps.
Hop schnapps.
Yeah, we call that
beer
stuff.
schnapps.
I don't know if it's quite ready for prime time. How about that?
Yeah, during COVID times, we took back, expired beer from other breweries and producers and ran it through our still and made hand sanitizer.
Right. That's great.
We weren't trying to make delicious product, but we had expired beer, nowhere to go, and let's do something with it. Yeah, made some hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Yeah, because that got really popular for a while.
Yeah, you can even
branded little,
we had little
plastic
branded
bottles
of Terramar hand sanitizer. It was fun. Yeah.
Cool. My hands are still freaking dried out from that shit. Greg, we're going to talk a little bit more about distilling, I'm sure. But before we do that, we are going to take a little break. We got some bills to pay. And we got a beer news segment. We're going to roll right about now.
The Brewers step up to the kettle against their rivals, the Bad News Beers. GM signals a pale ale with a little Vienna malt to keep things light. An easy mash out for the Brewers. Next up in the order, the All-Star Hops making their way to the kettle. A little late change up, moving them down to a 10-minute edition. Here's the pitch. A clean American ale has this crowd drooling. 68 degrees of fermentation, and it's goodbye beer! Beer and baseball go together like hot dogs and buns. Hit your home run with Northwest Brewer Supply.
Beer News with Andrew, where I come and give you international stories, national stories, state, maybe even your local backyard. What up again, hop heads? The world keeps spinning, and so does the keg. From global shakeups to national corrections to the Pacific Northwest doing what it does best, pushing those boundaries, this week's beer news shows an industry that refuses to sit still. Let's tap into this. So the international beer world is in motion this month with major players repositioning themselves across continents. Heineken is shifting up his Asia strategy, ending their local brewing in Singapore and moving it to an import-only model, an efficiency play that redefines Singapore's role in the region. Berliner is doubling down in China, partnering with Tsingtao to expand local production and deepen its foothold in the world's most competitive beer market. Who knew? Competition in China is fierce. Asahi's East African ambitions hit turbulence as the minority investors push back on its mandatory offer for EABL, complicating one of the region's biggest beer deals. This move shows a global industry tightening its focus, leaner operations, smarter partnerships, and a whole lot of strategic chess. So hitting the national scene, craft beer shrinks, but outperforms the market. The Brewers Association's latest data points are a nuanced picture of the U.S. craft beer industry in 2025. Craft beer production fell 5.1%, landing in at 21.9 million barrels, yet still outperformed the overall beer market, which had a decline of 5.7. So craft beer is looking up. Craft beer's share of the total beer market volume inched up to 13.3%, and that signals a resilience despite the contraction of the beer world altogether. Retail dollar sales dipped 3.6% to $27.8 billion, cushioned by higher prices and strong taproom and brew pub performance. Thank God it didn't drop anymore. Unemployment fell, unfortunately, 4%. But hospitality-driven models kept staffing more stable than the production rates. So call it a correction. You can call it a recalibration. Craft beer is tightening up, but the heart of the category is still beating strong. All right, now let's get down to local level, where Oregon's big winners at the 2026 Oregon Beer Awards. Well, Oregon delivered one of the most competitive showings ever at the 2026 Oregon Beer Awards, held April 5th at Revolution Hall in Portland. Breakside Brewery dominated with 10 medals, earning Large Brewery of the Year as well. Wayfinder Beer took Medium Brewery of the Year. Amazing. Congratulations, Wayfinder. UPP, or Up Liquids, I don't know if that's the call on it. They claim the Small Brewery of the Year, continuing its rise as a Pacific Northwest standout. I think we've had a little comment on UPP or Up Liquids prior in another beer news. Portland area breweries earned 43% of all the medals, while Central Oregon, especially Bend, took home a record 25 medals. That's 29%. Only 8.9% of the entries medaled, underscoring the competition's intensity. Oregon continues to punch above its weight, innovation, consistency, and a whole lot of pride in every pint. So there we go, hopheads. 3 angles, 1 story. International giants are repositioning. The U.S. craft market is tightening, but holding its ground, and Oregon's brewers are proving once again why the Pacific Northwest remains a powerhouse. 3 stories, 1 truth. Beer never stops evolving, and neither do the people who make it. Cheers, my friends.
Welcome back. Again, we got Greg Pore in here from Teramar Brewstillery. Sitting in the studio, we're drinking his fantastic Samish Bay IPA. Definitely enjoying the shit out of that beer.
Nice. Hell yeah.
A cool label too. Couple of 3 orcas on the label there.
Yeah, really kind of leaning into that, Pacific Northwest vibes, and being on Samish Bay, we see whales and orcas cruising through and wildlife, and Terramar. If you guys don't know, Terramar is a pantomime of land and sea, Terra land, Mar sea. We really try to lean into the territory we're in, and
you're right there on both.
Exactly, yeah. And we use all local ingredients, so all of our malts grown in Washington State, malted in Washington State. All hops are Washington State grown.
Skagit Valley stuff then.
Not Skagit Valley, because they're currently getting back off the ground from being out of business.
Yeah. Who do you use?
I'm using Link Malting, which is out of Spokane. They're on the Palouse region. Yeah. We used Skagit Valley Malting for years when we first started, and then they unfortunately went bankrupt for a period of time, but they're getting back off the ground now. And I was just over there the other day, and they're getting me some samples of some new grain they just got out of.
Did you get some
malting,
of the?
I thought I saw a bag in your store, Ben.
There is, and it's
Thunder.
Thunder. Oh, you got Thunder because I got the other
Planet?
one. No, it was a. What they fucking call it? It gave me like the
2 I heard were Thunder and Planet, and I was like, why aren't we doing like Pilot or like
right? Pilot was the best. It grew the best because if you're doing stuff from the east, then they don't need to do Pilot. They can do a better growing crop over there.
Exactly. It's still doing varietal specific, but Pilot was really good over here.
Because it was short.
Yep.
And it was actually a big kernel too.
It's a really all the stuff grown over here was really large kernel size, really good
really
plump
nice.
size.
They tried to get it short so it didn't lodge in our wetter climate. Yeah.
Right. No, really, really great malt coming out of the east side though. I'm really impressed with what Link is doing over there. Really varietal specific too.
I wonder how they're making it. Do you know anything about them?
Malting, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know those guys pretty well. Yeah.
Do they do salination tanks? Are they doing a rotating drum?
No, they're doing pretty traditional kind of gravity-fed malting. So they've got their kind of steeping kiln and up above where they'll steep, and then they'll go to germination after that steeping process, and they'll drop back down to a lower vessel, get rid of the chit, roll that around, knock the chit off, and then that'll go to package and kilning after that. So
do they have these
no
big,
roasting, but
do they
kilning.
have these big like square rotating things?
Not square. No, those are big cylindrical kind of vessels that have
Okay.
aeration and mixing elements in them.
Right.
Skagit Valley malting was malting in a very unique way with those rotating drums and all in one vessel. And it's
Right.
more traditional to do like 2 or 3 vessel malting with steeping,
yeah.
germination in one, and then kilning and drying in the other.
Yeah.
And
Which
so,
is very inefficient, actually.
Well, it can be inefficient. Yeah, for sure.
I started Skagit Valley malting.
Oh,
with,
right on,
with
nice.
Wayne Carpenter. Yeah.
Oh, right on. Nice.
Long time
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Long time
Many
ago.
moons.
Oh yeah.
Many moons ago.
2000,
Nice.
So, yeah, they've got,
2008.
So you know Bob Rock pretty well then.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob's becoming a good friend of mine. I teach at Skagit Valley College also, and I took
Okay.
over for all the classes Bob was teaching when he
Oh,
retired.
very cool.
So.
I taught Bob how to brew all grain.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Well, the
nice.
first
Yeah,
the
because
day-
I was doing it for me and Wayne were doing it for starting Skagit.
Okay, yeah.
And I would go over to his house every Thursday because I would brew a batch that he malted. I mean, like we're so little at this, he's making me 10 pounds at a time. So
Oh, wow.
or
Yeah.
20 pounds at a time. So I'm going to his house, and pretty soon Bob Rock shows up and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. I love beer. I'm interested in beer. Okay, here, let's do this." And he started helping me and just came right along and like, yeah, he brought around some beer. He's like, I make some beer too. I'm like, oh. Bring it in. It's Mr.
Talk beer, man.
Mr. Beer. It was Mr. Beer.
Mr. Beer. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, that's
He
not
hates
too
it when
bad.
you tell him that story.
I could say it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible.
we
And it surprised me. I was like, man, really? You made beer with Mr. Beer? Mr. Beer? I've never even known anybody to make beer with Mr. Beer.
my mother-in-law got me 2 of those kits, like 3 years
they're like
into brewing.
They're like the barrel.
Oh, I got that. It's beer here.
They're like that vessel that's like a barrel.
Oh
or
yeah.
something.
I turned it into a sour vessel.
Yeah.
and
there
it
you go.
worked fine until the rats got to it in the cellar. Like apparently, like the cellar in the house. So I was.
And the
Oh, man,
sweetness.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I got my homebrewing start in my college days, and living in a college house with 6 or 8 dudes trying to make things sterile and clean and sanitize.
yeah.
Not so awesome. I remember.
Yeah, because they were still figuring out how to make themselves sterile and
Oh,
clean.
for
you know?
sure. Yeah, I remember I was going to take a shortcut. I was like, I got to sanitize a bunch of bottles for packaging. Let's use the bathtub. Why not? And I'm like, should never have used the bathtub in a house of 6 dudes to sanitize bottles.
That's like starting up in a bad place.
Yeah, that was a bad decision.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. You were a home brewer first. We love to hear
Homebrewer
that.
first,
yeah.
for sure.
We
That's
do
how I
love
definitely
that.
got my start.
I
was a
home
home brewer.
marketplace. Yeah.
Nice.
I've been
yeah.
a home brewer.
Yay, home brewers.
Yeah, homebrewing's the best.
What was your first? What was your like first like? Fucking this is cool beer, or was it like your first beer like hooked you into
I
the,
made or
yeah
that I
that you
drank?
made yeah
Oh, man,
we'll get to that
yeah.
question too 'cause
Yeah. Beer that I made that hooked me. Let's see. I mean, a lot of them were super shitty. Let's get real. I mean, they were not very awesome when I first started. Let's see. I remember making I used to use, all home brewers, right? When you start out, you like adjuncts are awesome. Let's put things together and use a bunch of adjuncts and have a good time. And you
Put
don't.
it fucking all in there.
Yeah,
It's
you don't
great.
start out with like, let's make a Helles. Like you start out with like, this is fun. Let's make a pale. I think I made a jalapeno pale ale that I really liked. It was like a clone of Sierra Nevada,
Oh, yeah.
and threw a little jalapeno in there for some spice. And it was like, oh, beer can be a lot of different things. That's when my mind was like, oh, beer's not just light American lager
Right.
or pale ale. Beer can do a lot of
It's
different
not
things
just
out there.
slits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I was 19 or 20 at the time because you could buy homebrewing ingredients, right?
Right.
Yeah,
at
that
19,
fucking card
20.
shit, you know?
Yeah, and go home and play with
That would
them.
you had to be 18 in order to buy them, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was 1920 when I started
Yeah.
homebrewing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was.
I don't know that that's actually a thing.
Really?
I've had 18-year-olds and they're like, do you want to see my ID? I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, you're buying malt, you're buying hops.
Yeah.
Nothing is illegal
And
about
yeast.
that. Yeah.
And yeast.
Yeast is
Yeah.
fucking, like, it's Saccharomyces cerevisiae. It's the same shit that's in the Red Star label at the goddamn grocery store, and they didn't fucking card you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they card you for spray paint these days.
Right, because you're a deviant human with your tagging.
Yeah.
But you're not a deviant human with
to make your own beer.
with your homemade alcohol.
Absolutely not. That is a grand human tradition. Like, we've been making beer this side of forever.
Oh yeah.
So what was the beer like? I ask in a lot of my classes, like, what was the beer that divided beer into two camps? And I'm not talking light beer versus dark beer,
one that
ales
puts
versus
you over the
lagers.
edge.
The one that said, this is the beer, from this beer forward, there is the beers I've drank and the beers I will drink.
You know, I'll probably say that it's Tank 7 from Boulevard.
Ooh, Boulevard, that's good shit.
That saison, you know, it's kind of American saison. I don't know, categories kind of get blurred there. But when I first had that beer, I'd never had anything that was really kind of yeast driven like that. And I just fucking loved it. I just loved it, and it was like, again, this is what beer can be. You know, whole new flavor profiles that aren't built around just malt or just around hops, built around yeast expression.
That
really
is a fantastic saison.
And it's fantastic. It's
it is in the
yeah.
BJCP, like, recommended
This
for
is a style
Yep.
guideline.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was when I had just got. I was in college still when I first had that beer, like late college. You know, and before that, like, I mean, again, Sierra Nevada Pale definitely was something that blew my mind when I was starting to drink some better beers and, you know, get some things rolling. But that, I remember Tank 7 just being like, whoa, what can beer be? Another one would be La Fin du Monde, another beer that was just like, wow, this is what beer can be, and this is, you know, there's a whole breadth of beer out there. That really was like, got me on this path of, wow, this is interesting. You know, and fermentation is interesting.
Now, I was trying to remember. You said you were from Alaska. You worked in Alaska.
I spent about 10 years in Alaska.
So I always had this vision of Alaska brewing one of their brown trout beers. It was like a brown ale, but I don't think that memory is correct. I don't think it was Alaska, and I can't remember who it
brown
was.
trout.
It was like brown trout. It was a brown ale, and I swear it was from Alaska.
Bass Too Hard's got a fucking fish that ain't a bass on the label, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah. I wonder if it was a Midnight Sun beer. They do a lot of fish themed beers.
Yeah.
At Midnight Sun.
Well, this was '92.
They were around in early '90s. Midnight. They're the second or third brewery in Alaska.
Okay.
So yeah.
Maybe it was that because
Could have been Alaskan too, yeah.
that was the beer that turned me.
Okay. Yeah.
So I like
You want some
the
turtles?
pale ale. No, I don't need turtles. I love the Sierra Nevada pale ale, but I had this one prior to that, and I can't remember what it was for the life of me, and I always want to remember. I was hoping that maybe you had some.
Oh, no, I'm trying to think about it. Yeah, that brown trout. No, I mean, yeah. Midnight Sun's got their sockeye red, and the Alaskan amber, you know, is classic, of course, from Alaskan. But I can't think of a brown trout beer, but. No, I spent a lot of years working for Denali Brewing Company up in Alaska. I spent a lot of years working for them, and those guys taught me a lot, and was able to grow a lot with them and have a really good time as they were growing their business and helped me go to brewing science school and spend that time and made my way back down here. But yeah, Alaska is incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, I loved Alaska.
They sent you there?
They did.
That's
They
awesome.
helped pay for that and helped send me there. Yeah.
How long of a course was it in Germany?
So yeah, I did it through Siebel Institute
Yeah.
and the Domans Academy. So I was able to do the first year online to do my online courses, and then I spent about 12 weeks over in Germany doing my capstone and final course.
Cool.
So about a year of online, and then the final course you go to the Domans Academy.
So that's not too bad. I was like, man, you got to go to Germany, or you had to go to Germany, you know, for a year or a year or two.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Some students,
I feel bad for you.
Yeah. Some students would go the entire time. I was trying to work full time, so I was like able to do it online the first 3 or 4
Right,
courses.
and if the Denali was paying for it, they still expected a little bit of production out of you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, yeah.
Right.
They were helping to help pay, and they were, it was a point in time when I'd promoted to like a head brewer over there, and so it was like, let's figure this out. And they were growing really fast, and they saw the value, and like, let's get some knowledge in here, and let's get some, step up our game a little bit. So
right.
Yeah.
Like, what else can we do? Like, how can we, get some of that innovative energies into.
Yeah. And when you're scaling things up, going from, we were in a 8-barrel system, I guess, to start at Denali, and then went to a 30-barrel system. When you're doing that jump, it's like, you got to really have your ducks in a row. And
You went 8 to 30.
Yeah, Denali went from an 8.5 to a 30-barrel system.
How'd they adjust
vessel.
with their sales on that?
Well, distro was hard. Leading into distro really, really hard. So yeah, they started in 2008 they launched their company, so kind of right when that craft beer thing, was doing the climb, and especially in Alaska, right? There was a couple breweries there that were doing that, and their business model was like, we're going to be your regional distributing brewery. So signed some good distribution contracts with some big distributors like Odin up there, and built a brand, built a market, and went for it.
And just built it.
Exactly. Built it, worked with the sales team, and spent the time doing it, and got store placements, and got distro around the state. And
So you were there when it went from 8 to 30.
yeah, when I started making beer there and learning commercially, I'd homebrew, but that was my first professional job. We were doing 300 barrels of beer a year. I left, we were doing 15,000 barrels of beer a year. So,
How was that? How was that scale up? How was the scale
up? We nicknamed it Hindsight Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of mistakes, we made along the way as we, it was incredible though, because, we were all making it work, right? No one had a lot of background in, big brewing science, but had a lot of background in like Alaskan ingenuity and like the sales, and let's put our heads together and let's get her done. Let's make it happen. And that's it's good and bad. It's I look back and I'm like, man, we could have done things, in a much more efficient or easier way, but we learned a lot doing it the way.
Yeah, because I had to like make some big changes to process, ingredients, recipes. Like, oh shit, everything works different.
Yeah. Everything works different.
Nothing
works
scales.
And this makes me think about when a home brewer would enter a pro-am competition and win. And now the brewery's going to produce their homebrew beer that they've made 5 gallons or 10 gallons with. Now they have to scale that up. How do they scale that up? And get it the right way.
For sure,
Takes a minute.
Yeah, and I was learning at that point in time. I had people that were teaching me and training me, and some amazing brewers I was learning under, but it was definitely that economy of scale factor. It's definitely tough, right? Like, recipe creation on paper is, it's incredibly exciting, super fun, but to get that scale up there with quality and consistency is tough. Yeah, and do it over and over again.
And you got to do it again tomorrow.
Exactly.
Hey, we created a couple recipes on a couple of our episodes recently.
Yeah, actually, I just released the Castigator today, the Doppelbock.
Ooh, nice.
So that one went, the Legends got
Castigator.
The Castigator Doppelbock, yep.
That's not the name of it.
It is the Doppelbock is the Castigator.
Castigator.
Like, and I was thinking about like,
I'm going to go back and review our
go
podcast.
It is. Yeah.
For evidence.
I mean, because that's what it is now. So
it doesn't matter what the podcast says. That's what's in the store.
Yeah, no, I was looking at like the beers of spring, and you've got the obvious My Box, you've got New Beer's Eve on the 6th, National Beer Day on the 7th for Prohibition. And so what else is going on? Like My Box release soon, and then of course Lent. Right, we're leading up to Easter. Like, what were the beers of Lent? Were these Doppelbocks?
The big ones that we can drink while we fast.
Absolutely, the Sustainer.
Salvatore,
So
don't drink a lot of those on an empty stomach.
This one is not a dark Doppelbock. It's a little paler version, and I kind of had this vision like of a monk scolding you over not making the beer correctly, because I'm a fucking home brewer, so
there you
I
go.
do whatever I want.
That's great.
But the we worked on a logo for it, and now it's a monk with a fucking gavel and chains. It's very metal. I fucking love it. I'm like, I can't not do that. So we're gonna do that. So the Castigator released today as a kit. We're pretty excited about
Nice,
that.
right
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Still come. We do have a couple of those that I'm. I've written the instructions for. The Amber, the Padilla Bay. I am excited to brew that one. Or it's we called it. It's pronounced Padilla is the name of the beer
It's
for
pronounced Padilla.
for Mexi
What
lager.
style of beer is a Mexican lager?
It's a Mexican lager.
Okay.
Yeah.
My the Pilsner we do once a year, I call it Padilla Bay, but I call it Padilla Bay because it's a German style Pilsner.
Very cool. Yeah.
So and I get a lot of questions. Is Padilla? Like, this one's Padilla Bay because it's a German style Pilsner. Yeah, not the Mexican lager.
Yeah, we did the full phonetic.
Nice.
it's Padilla.
Nice. That's in the tank right now, actually, lagering away.
Very cool.
For a spring release,
I was out there a couple weeks ago. I had your dark lagers out there. And
oh, nice. Our Schwartz beer, probably.
The Schwartz beer, yeah. I did write I made a post that was very Shakespearean, and nobody got it. But I'm drinking this the lighter. God, what was it? I don't know.
The title, the lager,
the title.
lager?
Yeah.
Nice.
That was a very good beer.
That's a
two
beer I
of
spent
those.
a lot of time on. Actually, I'm able to have tank space now at Terramar to have a lager program. We didn't have a lot of tank space for a while. We don't have brights. Everything's unit tanked at Terramar.
Okay.
So keeping that fermentation space is at a premium when you're trying to turn and burn tanks, right? So parking a lager in there for 6-8 weeks has been tough. But we expanded our tank space.
What was the road like for the Northwest lager there?
Oh man, so that really is it's a really kind of love passion letter of mine to like local Northwest ingredients. I think it's one malt and one hop in that beer. It's Franson Pilsner, grown by Link out in the Palouse, and Franson grew out here too when Skagit Valley Malting had it for a while. It's an old world kind of a Czech barley there, but it grows really well over here. It has a really nice kind of soft bread, but also some floral and kind of crackery character to it. Really expressive, and then use Pacific Northwest grown U.S. saws. That U.S. saws has more of a slight citrus character while still having that kind of peppery and floral note to it. So I got a really nice lot of U.S. saws, and then took that Franson, and it's all about process and lagers. And I've learned so much from my lager friend brewers that are just doing lagers all the time. And now that I've got tank space to do it, spent a lot of time deep diving into kind of lager production and pH management and water to grain ratios and fermentation temperatures.
It's sounding to me like lagers might be difficult.
Well, I don't know. Like your brew
hard,
day,
yeah.
I don't know, but your brew day, it's still making beer.
Oh, the brew day
It's still making beer, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you can't hide anything, right? So and then when you get that beer, especially, I feel like there's a really, really great kind of light biscuit bready character with some soft floral notes, a little bit of citrusy, and a little bit of peppery, all very subtle, very subdued.
There's nothing to hide behind.
Yeah, and but
so
so
you have to be on your game on brew day, which you should be at every other beer too.
For sure.
So like, if you strip away, huge malt forward, masquerades and like 10 pounds of hops per
hop hiders.
gallon of fucking beer,
right?
Like so much paint and trim, like
Yep.
how you can hide a lot of sins behind 87 IBU.
For sure. Yeah,
Right? Like,
definitely.
you can't taste it because your fucking tongue's on fire, man. Like, whatever. But brew day didn't really change. It made you, and to produce an excellent IPA versus an excellent lager, you're going to be fastidious about water, pH.
All those things.
All of those things as
different
well, too.
realms. Yeah, what you're aiming for, what you're going for. That process control is really, there's. I don't know, this kind of classic thought, are brewers process-driven or ingredient-driven, and I think that the brewers that are the best are both. They care about the process intently, and they care about the raw materials and the ingredients intently.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You need to follow a process, because if you don't follow a process, it changes along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Your beer just will change. I mashed in too hot, or I mashed in too low. Now I got to raise the temp. Now my mash is longer.
Your 10-minute edition became a 5-minute edition because you were on the can.
Yeah.
It's going to be problematic for you.
Yes,
good
for
luck.
sure.
Now you have to repeat that. It could be a happy accident.
Or something happened with my chiller, in the very end, and I can't get. And I'm fighting my chiller, and meanwhile, that 5-minute edition or that flame out edition is just sitting in my boil kettle for 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, that just ruined it.
Yeah,
I made a light beer because my chiller hose popped off, started spraying hot water into my below the belt regions, and stripping off in a live brew day to cool off. Meanwhile, it's trickling back into my wort.
No, making it a light beer.
We got a lighter beer.
There we go.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I don't fucking brew. I'm gonna make that.
Don't waste it.
It's gonna be beer. It's
Yeah.
gonna be beer flavored beer, and turns out I like that stuff.
You could probably just boil it down. 90-minute, 120-minute
Right,
boil.
and then still got to rehab my chiller and dry my trousers. And
take the trousers off, brew naked, man.
Dude, it was trauma. I'm glad I already had kids, because Jesus. Yes, let's split that. Let's split that beer.
No, it's been really, really fun for me to get a lager program going and really consistently make some lager beers in tanks. It's been really fun. Really a passion of mine that I'll be able to execute lately, which has been super fun.
Yeah, I drinking those two beers, I was very light and dark lagers, kind of battling it out for supremacy on the stage. It was made me think about Romeo and Juliet, the two houses, fighting over, in Verona there, and nobody got it. Nobody got it. My other company is the Apothecary Spa, and I assumed more people read Shakespeare because it was fucking required when I was in high school. Yeah. So
nobody can remember that.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
long ago,
I didn't know that.
I didn't listen to those lectures. I'll be honest. Yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea, so I tuned out. Shakespeare time.
Yeah, whoosh, gone.
I actually went to a local play in Anacortes last month, and it was called the Book of Will, and it was about the guys who put together all of his works after he passed away, because it was 20 years or so, 10 years after he passed before they got like all of his works. So they didn't even have all his works. So these people kind of like went from like a couple of these other guys that he worked with to compile all of his works. And they didn't let anybody in that didn't have an absolute knowledge it was his. So they didn't let any of them in.
Well,
and,
yeah,
and one guy tried to get him in.
The provenance of some of his works are like in question to this day. Like,
right?
Who really wrote?
Was there a ghostwriter?
Yeah. And
right,
so
because he had a relationship with another actor that was trying to write some stuff.
We're way off
Shakespeare
topic.
podcast. Let's go.
We're way off topic now. Let's drink more beer.
It started with your Shakespeare reference.
So what do you got in the tanks right now? Like, what are you working on right now, Greg?
Oh man, I got a couple things I'm really excited about actually. So we rotate through. This is our house West Coast IPA, the Samish Bay IPA. We do 2 other IPAs. We do a hazy, juicy IPA and then a cold IPA. And those are always playgrounds for me and the brewers to play with hop varietals.
Nice.
New hop combinations, new hop varietals. The grain base stays similar for both, but the hop combinations always rotate and change. So we got 2 of those in the tank right now, 1 cold and 1 hazy. Really using a new hop, pink it's called, IDH 546. Idaho experimental hop.
That rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're calling it Pink right now as a name, but it's from the same company that bred Idaho Gem and Idaho 7, and so they crossbred some stuff over in Idaho to have this pink hop that has got some interesting tropical, but also these like honey and kind of cara orange notes to it.
Very kind of cool.
So we're trying that out and see how that's going to play in there.
That's a few different flavors mixed up.
Exactly, yeah, and so we're going to see how that. We use it as a dry hop in that beer. And I find cold IPAs to be a really good playground for hop varietals because the base is so neutral.
Yeah.
So you can really kind of have that expression go through. And then hazy juicy in the tank right now, using some new combinations of yeast varietals and some yeast nutrients and some thiol kind of based ingredients to get some of those thiol expressions. And got our German style Pilsner that I tweak every year, the Padilla Bay Pilsner. That's a classic kind of German style Pilsner, but using local ingredients as well. I'm really excited on that. That beer's progressing right now. And then just got our Octopus Garden Goza in the tank this last week.
Oh, now we're talking sours.
Which is one of my favorite beers. And
I've been waiting.
Yeah, it's been one of our, it's definitely our most award-winning beer by far across multiple competitions and things, taking home awards. It's a very, it's a classic build on a German-style Goza, but also, again, kind of highlighting local ingredients. So Pilsner and wheat malt in there, and then a clean American ale strain, a lactobacillus kettle souring procedure, and then we condition it on a bull kelp sea salt from San Juan Island Sea Salt Company on San Juan Island. And that bull kelp sea salt, nice umami character, nice minerality. I don't know if you know that company, but they just bring in water from the sea and then put it into a evaporative kind of high house, like basically a big tent, and let it naturally solar evaporate. And these big old salt flakes are left from that seawater, and they're just full of minerality and saline character.
Sounds great.
So it's got a really unique kind of umami saline character to it, and that goes in after fermentation of that beer.
Nice.
So that beer I'm really excited
about. I hope everybody out there
in
in the listener land is getting really thirsty. I'm fucking
that
drooling
beer is a perfect spring summer beer, perfect for oyster pairing and seafood pairing.
Nice.
And it's a process beer that I've developed over time on how we do that kettle souring and that yeast fermentation to maintain that healthy fermentation at really low pHs. But it's it comes out really nice.
If I remember correctly, that is a split fermentation. You get it started on like Chico, and then
I keep it on Chico the entire time.
You do something to the Chico.
Yeah, so what I do basically is when I've got my kettle, knock it out to my kettle initially, I take a little slightly pre-sour it, so get the pH down to about 4.5 with some lactic acid. Then I take about a barrel of that out of my 16, 18 barrels. I take about a barrel of that, transfer into the fermenter, and pitch my Chico yeast in there, and then the rest of it stays in the kettle and gets cooled down to 95 degrees. I pitch a lactobacillus blend. The one I like is from Omega yeast. It's a really nice lacto blend that kettle sours really cleanly and efficiently. That'll sour in about 18 hours or so, get down to about 3.1, 3.2 pH. Meanwhile, that propagation's kind of going in that fermentation tank and getting that yeast health and yeast count way up, right, from about 18, 24 hours of rolling at that 4 or 5 pH.
It's like my starter when I'm homebrewing.
Yeah, but you get that pH buffer is really, I think, what does it, because if you rack off, 3.2 pH beer onto a normal yeast strain, it's going to have a hard time taking off, and doing nice things, right? It'll take off eventually, but kind of staggering that pH to that 4.5, 4.6 knockout,
It's like
letting that grow.
priming your yeast for this acidic work that you're going to be doing.
So then the next day I boil out that kettle and add a little bit of hops and some things, and then knock that out through the heat exchanger into that same fermenter that's got that 1 barrel kind of prop going in there, and it ferments out really nicely the next 3 to 4 days. Really clean, little light lemon character from the lactobacillus fermentation. Got a robust, healthy cell count to be able to tackle that really low pH.
Nice.
And that has really done a really nice job to really clean up some of those sour beers.
Right. So as a homebrewer, when I'm doing my Berlinerweisse, I can kind of mimic that same process and take out from the brew day and put it in my Erlenmeyer flask to make my starter.
Right.
For the rest the next day.
It's kind of like temperating your yeast, with temperature, right? You never want to shock your yeast temperature. Same thing with pH. You don't want to shock it with pH. So if you kind of buffer it down initially first and then hit it with the rest of it, and when you hit it with the rest, that yeast is in its healthiest, most vibrant spot.
Ready to roll.
22, 24 hours, it is ready to rock. Wow. So that's been a good procedure for us. Has worked really well.
Right on. Okay, so tell me about, you do some other sours.
Yeah, for sure. We do mixed culture stuff as well, kettle sour stuff as well.
Barrel-aged sours?
Yeah, barrel-aged sours. Yeah, we've got one on tap right now, a barrel-aged mixed culture Saison that's on tap. We got a Flanders Red that's in bottles right now, bottle
your
condition.
Flanders Red is amazing.
Of course, you have the distillery, so you've got the oak supply line coming. Oh my God.
We've got the raw material stream
Super
to work
jelly
with,
on that,
and that's really fun. We do our once a year Belgian quad beer we call the Space Quadacy.
That's a good beer.
And we take a portion of that every year and rack it into our spent Terramar whiskey barrels, age that and release that year after year, do a nice blend of like 1 and 2 year aged quad barrels, and then we can take those barrels after we're out of the quad, go to a mixed culture program, and rack in some nice bugs into there. So yeah, we've had really good Flanders Red. We've still got in a bottle, a few left, really nice Saison. That whole process, is entirely different than kettle souring and, time intensive, but it's incredibly fun as a brewer, right? To kind of see how that funk and flavor develops over time and develop that house culture over time. It's also, a little bit of a process pain to keep your clamps and your gaskets and your equipment all separate so you don't cross-contaminate anything else in your brewery. But good practice you can do.
Do you have a barreling house or a separate place where you sour your barrels?
They're in our same facility, actually. Okay, we have a foeder, actually, that's in our same facility as our fermentation tanks, and that, that foeder stays sealed and locked and pressurized, but when we go to do sour transfers or sour blending, we'll make sure we're not doing anything else that day, right? Everything else is under positive pressure, cleaned, done, tanks are locked up. And we'll do that one day of kind of our sour process with dedicated clamps, gaskets, tubing equipment, and then go back to do our clean stuff later on. So it takes some attention to detail, but it's again, one of the things we love at Terramar is kind of that wide variety of beer styles. It keeps it fun for me as a brewer and keeps it fun for consumers to come in and find a beer they want to drink, right? You want your light crushable lager, here's your title. You want your complex mixed culture sour, here's your Saison, here's your Flanders Red. You want a dark, deep stout, here's your nice deep dark stout. Here's your kettle sour raspberry sour, your fruited sour, here's your West Coast IPA, your hazy IPA.
Here's your damn amber.
Here's your damn amber, Our amber sells real well, right? Because you got to have it,
That was NSB. NSB.
NSB,
here's your
right,
damn amber.
Right? That's what,
They're done? They're done? Are they done?
So
they're going to come back.
My understanding is that Temperate Habits
that is correct,
is taking over, and they're still
still working out some kinks, but
are they brewing the same beers for everybody?
I think that's TBD, but I think the brewer who's at North Sound, I forget his name.
Rob,
he's staying on, I'm pretty sure. And and the other woman who was there, they're going to stay on and keep producing beers there.
Shite.
I'm terrible at names, but yeah, I think they're going to keep some recipes the same, and I'm going to keep some North Sound stuff rolling. I'm not entirely sure.
Sarah,
probably
Sarah.
So Sarah, she was the assistant brewer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, their Cilantro Stout's really good.
Cilantro Stout is really good.
That's the only one I like.
The one, the one I love, I love the IPA program they have, but their Scotch Ale when it was on a Scotch barrel, legend.
No,
year one they got the Scotch Ale, and it was like another decade and a half before they.
Well, didn't Kurt bring that back like on a plane or something?
Like, so Scotch barrels are notoriously difficult to get your hands on because the Scots like to reuse their barrels.
They will reuse,
You're making bourbon, so you've got to get a new one every 12.
Single malt whiskey, but we got a new one every time. For it's got to be fresh oak for it to be.
For a bourbon, you're doing single malt. You're doing
Single malt
fresh
American
oak.
whiskey, and it has to be a fresh barrel as well.
So single malt American has to be new oak.
Technically speaking, it's got to be new oak.
That's
Yes,
good.
for
That's
sure.
kind
Got
of
the
weird.
fresh oak.
Yeah.
Got the fresh oak character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can reuse that. They'll take those barrels
Then
and
they'll
go to
make a bourbon?
barrel aged gin, or we'll go to
Gin,
a brandy, or go to a beer or something like that for sure. But
So you're getting generations out of that.
yeah, for sure. And we have some excess sometimes, which we'll share the love with other breweries and have them come scoop them up and buy the barrels off of us so they can age some beers in them. But yeah, no, it's we're really lucky as a brewery, distillery, cidery to have all that raw
I'm just
material
like
at
the
our
barrel
aspect.
pipeline alone is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like we have too many barrels. What a weird problem
What a
to have.
shit problem to have.
Yeah.
Well, here in the soundtrack, Greg, it sounds like the show's going to be wrapping up here. I'm super thrilled that you came in today and got
Hey,
to
thank
hang
you,
out
yeah,
with us.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
talk
thank you
beer
very
and drink
much.
beer
Well,
with
thank you
us.
for
Like,
inviting me, guys. This is
yeah.
I hope you had a
Great.
good time. I know I had a good
For
time.
sure, yeah.
I learned a lot.
Love talking beer. Yeah.
I love talking beer. And coming from a homebrew situation, amazing.
Well, it's kind of we got homebrew. I'm like solid homebrew. You're homebrew transition into pro. Like you were, same and still
homebrewed and
pro,
pro,
and
yeah.
still pro. Like
Yep.
yeah, it's kind of a cool mix. I love it. I love
Right
it. Again, thank you, and thank you all
Thank
for
you,
joining
everybody.
us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We're working on a good show, so
Right on.
stick around.
Working on it.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah.